Hello YouTube makeup lovers, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to Be Lounge Makeup, I really hope that you guys stick around and subscribe for more videos. For today, I wanted to do a video, which I know a lot of people, I said this in my 17 favorites of 2017, which I will link to down below, but I really wanted to do a video where I pretty much show you my most used products. It's kind of like a roundup of all my makeup products. I always want to do, you know, the 17 favorites of 2017 because you really got to narrow it down to your favorite products. But there are so many products that are my favorites and so many products that I use in my rotation. What you saw in that video are pretty much my number ones that I used and abused in 2017. But today I think it's a good idea to maybe do this video, also do it once a year. I know a lot of YouTubers do this as their yearly favorites, but I think it'd be a good idea to do this video and just kind of show you in all the different categories as I go with makeup, which are the different products that I use. So for example, I didn't have any bronzers that I showed you guys in my 17 favorites, but there are about 3 or 4 bronzers that I always use, even though I may have 15 bronzers, but I do want to share with you guys those 3 or 4 that are in my constant rotation and that I'm always gravitating towards and just, you know, switching them up every day or every other day, but just basically share with you guys all my favorite products in all the makeup categories. So we better get started with my roundup of beauty products. I'm not going to mention skincare products in this video because I do have an evening skincare routine video, which is still very, very current, of my go-to products for the evening in skincare, and I'm gonna film a morning skincare one too, just up to you guys on my morning routine. So I'm not gonna mention skincare, I'm just gonna dedicate it all to makeup for this video. The very first category that I'm gonna mention, and I'm gonna try to go in the order that I like to do my makeup, are the beauty sprays. These I like to use before I apply my makeup every single day, whether I do light makeup or whether I do more heavy makeup. Sometimes I'll use them instead of a toner, and sometimes I'll use them in addition to a toner. My most favorite of all is definitely the Caudalie Beauty Elixir. This one is just the best one of all. I highly recommend this one, and I have been using it already for a long time. And then the other two that I have been alternating that one with, that I have been grabbing a lot, are these two from Pixi. One is the Hydrating Milky Mist and one is the Glow Mist. The best thing about these is that they have a very good price. You can get these at Target, but they're really, really great sprays. Next, I like to apply an oil on my skin, and for that one, I'm just gonna share one with you guys because it's the one that I use all the time. I have tried other ones, but I seem to just always grab this one, and this is the Josie Maran. This is the pure Argan oil. This is a really great oil for your face. You can use this morning and night, but I love how it looks under your makeup. It just makes your skin look like you're glowing. Primers. For primers, I do have a bit more, and there are 2 types of primers that I like to use. I like to use the more moisturizing primers, which are, I don't know, I just like them for my skin. They feel moisturizing. They don't really cover pores or anything like that, but they do let your makeup sit nicely on top of the primer, and for me, it makes my makeup also last a long time. I have 3 of those, which the first one is the Marc Jacobs. This is the Coconut Primer. This is one of the ones that I use all the time. I also have the Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer. This one is also excellent. They're very, very similar. This one is a little bit more like slippery, so it feels like, I don't know, it just leaves your skin feeling very smooth, a little bit more than the coconut one from Marc Jacobs. And then I also have from Too Faced the Hangover. This is the Replenishing Face Primer, also has coconut water. And this is the one that I'm kind of using a lot more now. This is a little sample that I got. Well, it's actually a really small size that you actually purchase. So I bought this one, and I already got the full size because I'm running out of this one. But those are the 3 that I like to use mainly when it comes to wanting a more hydrating primer. And then when I want to smooth out any pores, these next 2 primers are the ones that I use in particular parts of my face where I feel I need to smooth it out a little bit more, around my nose, a little bit on my cheeks, just to cover the pores. And for those, I use 2. The smoothing primer from Makeup Forever is the very first one. It's very, very similar to the next one, which is the Benefit, the Pore-Fessional. So these are the 2 that are more for smoothing out. I don't use these all over my face, just in those areas, whereas the other ones I use all over my face. Most of the time, I'll do one of each. Either one of these or one of the more moisturizing ones that I just showed you. Next, I have some liquid highlighters, and these aren't really highlighters that I use for highlighting. These next two products are some that I like to mix in with my foundation just to give my face a little bit more of a glow. I especially like to mix them in with foundations that are a little bit more matte, just to give it a nice, you know, a nice glowy, healthy look. I use very little, but the very first one is the Marc Jacobs The Dewdrops, which is this one. It is excellent. It has a really beautiful goldy type of color, and when you mix it in with a foundation, it just looks amazing. Look at that glow. So I just use a little bit. You mix it in with a foundation, just like a little drop, and it just automatically makes any foundation a little bit more dewy, a little bit more luminous and radiant. And the second one I also like to mix in with the foundation is from Becca, and this is the Shimmering Skin Perfector Liquid, which looks like this. This is another one, the Champagne Pop. It's in the Champagne Pop, by the way. The Champagne Pop Powder highlight is my favorite to use over makeup, and then this one is also one that I like to mix in with my foundation. So honestly, you don't need both because they're both very similar, but these are pretty much the two that I like to, you know, switch off and on between these two to mix in with a foundation. For foundations, I actually have a video where I share with you guys like my top 10 foundations, which I'll link to that one below so you see which ones my top 10 are. My two favorite foundations of 2017, which I mentioned in my video, were the Dior Forever Foundation and the La Mer, the Soft Fluid Longwear Foundation. These are definitely my two favorites at the time, and these are the two that had 2 spots on my 17 favorite products of 2017 list. But there are others that I'm also using a lot, and those are the ones that I kind of wanted to focus on in this video. So the very first one is the Kogan Dough. This is the Aqua Foundation. This foundation is amazing. I have dry skin, which you should know, and most of you already know if you watch my videos. I use shade 123, and this is a great foundation. It already makes you feel nice and luminous and glowy and healthy, and I just love the way it blends in. This is the one that I am wearing today. From the drugstore, the one that I grabbed the most is definitely the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow. This is one that I used a lot last year, and it's the one from the drugstore that I use the most right now. It's also great for travel because of the packaging, great price. I use shade 203. Another one that I like to use during the day a lot that I just use with my fingers, I'm kind of reaching this one more than I am the CC creams, which my favorite CC cream is still the It Cosmetics CC cream, but I seem to be using this MAC Face and Body Foundation the most. And this one is best applied with your hands, and I have it, this one is actually the only foundation that I have in my bathroom because I like to wash my hands with soap right after, but you just start putting it on your face, it feels really liquidy, and then suddenly it changes consistency, and that's when you know it's like perfect on your skin. It's very natural and it's very waterproof. And then the one that I like to use the most when I have a very special occasion that I want the most coverage possible, I wore this recently to a wedding. If I want major makeup, like the most heavy makeup for photos or for just a very special event, I always grab the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Foundation Stick, which is this one, and this one I am always loving. It's probably my all-time favorite stick foundation. I wasn't a huge fan of the Hourglass Vanish Foundation Stick. I kind of want to try the Tom Ford one because I've heard that one's really good, but out of all of them, between the Hourglass and the Makeup Forever, I kind of like the Makeup Forever a little bit more. I think the Hourglass is just a little bit too more full coverage for me. This one gives me the major coverage that I want, and I think this is like a good limit of coverage for what I like when I want to go heavy on the makeup. I know this next product is a skincare item, but it is a must for me when doing my makeup, and I use it every single day. And this is always the first step to my concealer routine after I do my foundation. And this is the Fresh Creme Ancien Eye Cream. This is by far the best eye cream out there. It lasts a really long time. It's not your typical eye cream. It's kind of like, it seems like it's more of a paste than like of a cream. Like I can push a lot and it's not gonna go all the way down because it's not like a fluffy cream. It's more just like a flat, pasty type of cream. I don't really know how to explain it, but it is for me the best eye cream out there, and it's the best first step in my concealer routine. For me, correctors are a must. I have very dark under eye circles, and correctors are the second step in my concealer routine. My concealer routine is pretty much first the eye cream, then the corrector, then the flesh tone concealer, and then you set it. Those are the 4 very important steps for me to do my concealer. I never leave home without concealer. And as far as salmon concealer, I think my go-to from many years ago that I always use and abuse is the Eve Pearl, and this is the salmon concealer. This is a shade medium. It has 2 different shades, but now they have, you know, they changed it a little bit, and now they come in a compact. They don't have the one that I used to buy back in the day that I think you can get 1 color in like a compact like this. They sell like the little palette refills, which I hate. And I thought the consistency is not the same as the original one, but this is the same as the original one if you buy it in this already made compact with 2 colors. So love this one. It is a great salmon concealer. Another one that I use a lot right now is from Bobbi Brown, and this is the Intensive Skin Serum Corrector, and one of them is Intensive Skin Serum Concealer. I don't know why the name is different, because to me they're both correctors. One of them is in the shade Dark Peach, and the other one is Light to Medium Bisque 3. And this is what they look like. Very similar to the Eve Pearl. Great peach colors to cover your under eyes. And for a drugstore alternative, the one that I use a lot is the Maybelline. This is the Master Camo, and this is in the apricot color. So this is also a really good one from the drugstore. These are the ones that I use the most in my rotation. For the Flesh Tone Concealer, you saw in my 17 favorites that, of course, I mentioned the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. This concealer is awesome. Of course, it made it to my top 17, which means I loved it so much last year. But there are 2 others that I like to use a lot. And even though I like the Tarte Shape Tape more for going out at night when I want to look wow when I go with a heavy makeup, I always take the Shape Tape. But during the day, the ones that I use on a daily basis are still, and when I say still is because this has been a favorite of mine for a long time, the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer is one that I love. I use a shade Light Neutral. And then the other one, of course, is the Clé Concealer. I use the shade Beige. This is the other one that I have used for many years and that I still use. And lately, between the Urban Decay and the Clé, those are the ones that I've been using all the time during the day. And then I use the Shape Tape at night if I'm gonna go all out with my makeup. Setting powder for concealer. I have 2 that I wanna share with you guys. My all-time favorite that I've been using already for a long time is the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. This is a great one. I just love the way it goes on, you know, the skin. I love how it sets a concealer. It's kind of like a little more yellow toned beigey powder. The other one that I have been really enjoying is the La Mer the powder. This one is more recent, but it's the one that I'm grabbing the most right now. I also like this one because it is a more peachy powder, and I feel like it also helps with, you know, the under eye circles. So only thing that sucks is that it's pricey, a lot pricier than the Laura Mercier, but it's really good, and I know that this is something that'll last a long time because this one I've had forever. I even bought a backup already, but I'm still have a little bit left that I haven't used. So these setting powders for concealer last a really long time. Setting powders for the face, I have 3 that are favorites. One is my all-time favorite, which is the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish. I still use this over and over again. I am the shade medium in this one. The second one that I use a lot is also the Giorgio Armani. This is shade 4. This is the powder foundation, but I use this as a setting powder, and it's, if you use it very lightly, it's very light. I don't know why it's even called a powder foundation. And the third one that I'm using a lot, and these are pretty much the 3 in my constant rotation, is the Charlotte Tilbury. This is the airbrush Flawless Finish, and I use the shade 2 medium. So those are the 3 that I use the most of my powders. And then we go for bronzer. And for bronzer, I have to show you my go-to bronzer right now, and it is the Tom Ford. This is the Tom Ford, the Ultimate Powder Bronzer in the shade Gold Dust. This one I am loving. It's the best. It's the one that I use every single day. It works for contouring. It just works really beautiful. The bronzer is from the brand Sayate. I don't know why I think it's called the Bamboo Bronzer, but it doesn't say bamboo here. Did I just make that up? But this is in the shade Palm Island. This is another really great bronzer to use. Also very good for contouring. From Too Faced, the Sweetie Pie Bronzer, I'm also grabbing a lot and I really enjoy it. This is in Radiant Matte Bronzer infused with peach and sweet fig cream. Also a very beautiful bronzer. And of course, my all-time favorite is the NARS Laguna, which is another one that I use a lot, is the NARS Laguna. So those are some of the ones that I have been using a lot that you can buy at Sephora that are a little bit higher end. But there is one amazing bronzer that was very popular in 2017 that I use a lot too, and that I still grab. It smells so good. It is the Butter Bronzer from Physicians Formula. So this is a really great drugstore alternative for bronzer. Excellent product. Blushes, of course, in my 2017, I shared two, which is this Narcissist. This is the Unfiltered 2 palette. This is pretty much the one that is my go-to, and of course the blush in Threesome. Those are the two that I mentioned, but there are other ones that I also have in my rotation, and most of them are pink because I think all of them are pink because I always just use pink. That's a color that I gravitate towards. Yes, once in a while I have to, depending on what my makeup is or how I'm dressed, I'll use a peach or a more neutral color. When I have a lot of makeup on my face, you know, and I'm just very colorful, or if I'm gonna wear a red lip, I tend not to, let me get it for you. I tend not to use a pink blush, and the one that I always use when I do that is a Tarte Exposed blush. This is like my more neutral blush when I can't wear pink, but I always usually wear pink. One of my favorite ones is the Sigma. I'm gonna try to go through these fast because there are a lot of pink blushes. Is the Lady Slipper Aura Powder from Sigma. This is a beautiful pink one. From Marc Jacobs, the Air Blush Lush and Libido. It is just such a beautiful color. This is the only one I have from this line, and it's just beautiful. Then I have from Tarte, the one I like the most in Tarte ones, which I love Tarte blushes, is this pink one in Flush. And then I also use this lighter pink one in Energy. So these are the two Tarte ones that I use the most. From Milani, the Delicioso pink one is a great blush, which is this one. It's just such a beautiful blush from the drugstore. The other one, the peachy one too, is also really, really nice. Where is that one? Let me show you that one. I just can't remember what it's called right now. The Luminoso is a really good option for a peachy one, but I always grab the pinky one. But there you have another peach alternative. And then from Too Faced, the Love Flush brush that I use the most is the pink one in Justify My Love. They also have a really pretty neutral one that I also grab a lot, you know, that I kind of alternate between this, the Exposed, and this one, which is the Baby Love. But like I said, these pinks that I just mentioned, and of course my top two of 2017 are the pink blushes that I'm always grabbing. Highlighter. For when I want to go like wow, bam, highlight, of course my go-to highlighter that is powder is the Becca Champagne Pop Highlighter. This is my go-to powder highlighter for when I want to go va-va-voom. For when I want to go a little bit light, more for every day, is of course the Dandelion Twinkle from Benefit. This is the one that I mentioned in my 17 favorites of 2017 because this one I discovered last year. Then from the drugstore, the other two that I want to share with you guys that I'm really enjoying, of course, is the Maybelline Master Chrome. This is the one that I am wearing today. It is a great highlight, and you can buy it at the drugstore. Now they came out with, I think, other colors. I think the one that they have now is a rose goldy one. And for a liquid highlighter that I like to use on my skin, you know, when I like to apply it with a beauty blender and just give it a major pop of color, I really love these Cover FX Custom Enhancer Drops. The color I like the most is Sunlight. So these are really the 4 highlighters that I've been gravitating for the most, and at this present time, they're the ones that are in my rotation. Now let's get to the eyes. Of course, the primer that I always use is the NARS. This is the Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Base. That is pretty much what I use. I don't have any other, you know, eyelid primers that I use. That's my go-to and the one and only that I grab. Then I always use the Laura Mercier Caviar Sticks. Sometimes I also use the NARS ones, but I have to say that my two go-to colors are the Copper and the Rose Gold from Laura Mercier. These I love to use. After I use my NARS shadow base, I like to put these on the lids depending on what shadow I'm going to use. I have those in, I think, most of the colors, but those are the two that I grab the most because my favorite type of shadows are in those shades. For eyeshadow palettes, of course, the one that I mentioned in my 17 favorites is a Persona palette, because that is my go-to palette of 2017. But another palette that I've been using a lot, and that is a go-to of mine, is my MAC palette. This one is one that I made myself that has my go-to MAC eyeshadows. Vanilla is a go-to, Nylon is a go-to. We have all that glitters, Woodwinked, you know, there's Cork, Wedge. you know, just amazing, beautiful colors from MAC. So always grab my MAC palette. Another palette that I really grab a lot is from the brand Viseart, the Theory palette. That's another one that is definitely a favorite of mine. And this one is, I think, in the shade Minx. This is a really gorgeous, gorgeous palette. And a little duo from Bare Minerals is called the Top Shelf Duo. And this one, I pretty much just like one of the shadows a lot. If I can open it and share it with you guys. Where's the opening? The opening and the back look exactly the same. This Top Shelf, this eyeshadow is definitely a go-to eyeshadow of mine. And then there were a lot of matte palettes that came out, you know, last year. But really the one that I use the most recently is just the Just Peachy Mattes palette. This one I really like. So I really like Too Faced eyeshadows. These are the ones that I'm kind of using the most right now. Of course, I love the Urban Decay Naked palettes, you know, especially 1, 2, and 3. And I also like the chocolate bar palette, the semi-sweet chocolate bar palette. Those are the other two that I really like. But honestly, the ones that I just showed you are the ones that I grab the most. For the brows, I just have a one and only eye pencil, which is the Anastasia Beverly Hills, not eye pencil, brow pencil. The Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Definer in Blonde. That's the one that I just use every single day. The Brow Stylist Plumper Brow Gel Mascara from L'Oreal, I also use a lot. And then the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. So for brows, I keep it simple. Mascaras, I have two. I have a high-end one and a drugstore one. Of course, there are other mascaras that I always try, but these are the two that I have been buying over and over again. The Benefit Roller Lash, I already mentioned in my 17 favorites. But another one that I did want to mention, and I think it's awesome from the drugstore, is the Voluminous Lash Paradise. This is a really excellent mascara. It comes in waterproof and in the regular formula. For liquid liner, my current favorite is the Tom Ford, and that is the Eye Defining Pen, which is this one. This is an amazing liquid liner. It has two ends. It's the one that I use today. It's really the one that I'm gravitating towards a lot. I also like the Stila Stay All Day Waterproof Liquid Eyeliner. This is another one that I grab. And of course, the Tattoo Liners by Kat Von D are some of my favorites. These I haven't opened. They're brand new. But I use the Mad Max Brown a lot, and I use the black one that's called Trooper. So those are pretty much the four that I use. And as far as other eyeliners, really, I just mentioned it in my 17 favorites. I really love these NYX. These are the Slide On Glide On eyeliners in the glitzy gold color. This is like my go-to #1. It was in my 17 favorites. And lately, I'm really enjoying the silver one, but I don't like really dark, you know, waterlines. I like my waterlines to be a little bit more vibrant because I feel like I don't have the biggest eyes. And when I put too dark on the lower lash line, it closes my eyes. So I go more for metallic brightening colors and that gold. And lately I've been using the silver. I think it achieves that open, big eye, bright eye look that I like the most. I also wanted to share with you guys some of my most favorite tools. And of course, the sponge, the Beauty Blender is a must for me. I don't care what color it comes in. I have it in the nude. This is the one that I'm currently using right now. But I mean, the Beauty Blender is just a must, especially for concealer. When I'm using a thicker foundation, it's something I just like to finish off my face with. And then a cheaper alternative that I use a lot is this one from Eco Tools. It's excellent. It doesn't last as long as the Beauty Blender, but it's still a very good sponge. But definitely the sponge, the Beauty Blender is the bomb. As far as brushes, I already shared with you guys in my 17 favorites some of the Morphe brushes that I have been using a lot. It's the E3, the E53, and the E48. Those are pretty much the ones that made it to my 17 favorites. But other brushes that I just love, that I always use, for example, is the Artis Brush Oval 8. This, I would say, is my go-to brush for applying foundation. Another brush that I use all the time is my bronzer brush. This is just the one that I always use. I just always use this one for bronzer, and I have like 2 or 3 of them, so I don't really use anything else for bronzer. And that is a Sigma Soft Angle Contour brush. This is the best brush you can use for bronzer, for contouring. The one I use to set my under eye area. Sometimes I set my under eye area, you know, with a powder, with a sponge. Other times I'll use the Sigma Soft Blend Concealer brush. That one I really like. For the eyes, my 3 go-to brushes are from Sigma, the E55, the E25, and the E45. I think those are the ones that I just always use. I mean, pretty much I use these 100% of the time because I have ended up buying so many of them that I just always have one clean brush to use for my eyes. So those are pretty much the brushes that I use non-stop, and those are the ones that I just want to grab all the time. Like, even though I have so many different brushes for highlighting, you know, using a powder, I always grab the Morphe one that I mentioned. You know, if I always want to brush, you know, I have so many brushes for bronzer, I always grab that one. But like, for example, for powder, you know, for blending in my concealer, I do have other options. So those aren't really my go-to pretty much in my consistent rotation. What else? So lip liner, I'm not going to show you because I have them, but I rarely use them. I use them once in a while if I have to do like a red lip or something like that. But it's not really a go-to thing that I use. So I'm kind of gonna leave lip products out of this video because I do want to film a video of my favorite pink nude lipsticks because those are really the ones that I use all the time. But there are a few of them and I kind of want to dedicate a video entirely just to my current favorite pinky nude lipsticks, so that'll be coming soon. But I did show one in my 17 favorite products of 2017, and that was the Smashbox Be Legendary Lipstick in Pretty Social. So this is definitely the one that I use the most. But I will share with you guys a drugstore option that I really loved and that I used a lot, and it's one of the ones that I grabbed the most, and it is this Revlon lipstick in Primrose. This is a lustrous lipstick from the drugstore. It's a great alternative, and I just think it's like one of my go-to favorite lipsticks. But I will be doing a video dedicated to my favorite lipsticks. So that is pretty much it. I really hope that I'm not leaving any favorite product out. I keep on looking around just to make sure that I mentioned everything that I'm currently loving and using in my rotation over and over again. I hope to be doing this video. Maybe I'll do it on a yearly basis. This is really a video that you can do anytime. You don't have to wait till the end of the year to do it. But pretty much it's just the products that you use over and over again. And I think this is something that'll last a long time. And then I think in another year or so is probably when you start changing up and finding new products to put into your rotation. But I really hope that you guys found this video helpful. As always, I will list every product that I mentioned in the description box down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And as always, I just want to say thank you so much for watching Be Lounge Makeup. I hope you guys are having an amazing beginning to 2018. Very happy new year. I hope you guys have an amazing year ahead of you. And I will talk to you very, very soon. Bye.